Well, hello there, and welcome to an Ignite Press book launch livecast. Today is a special treat. We have a couple lovely women here that are going to be telling us about their new book, and it's really been a treat to work with them. Before we get there, I just want to let you know that we here at Ignite Press specialize in helping people bring their messages to the world through the most timeless of medium, and that is through books. And if you have been working on a book, if you've thought about working on a book, if you've got a book that you're building to build your business or brand, then certainly reach out. You can find us at ignitepress.us. That's ignitepress.us. And you'll see a link there where you can click and set a consultation directly with me. But now let's get on to the stars of our show. Jessie Jones and Laurie Rhodes have collaborated to write a delightful book and a very valuable book called Wise Women Seeking More. And I would like to bring Jessie and Laurie on now. Well, hello to the two of you.
Hello there.
It is great to see you both. Congratulations. So we're normally doing a live cast like this on launch day, but instead, you guys had a really fantastic book launch last week, and you hit it out of the park. And I hope you don't mind me sharing with everybody that your book became a #1 bestseller in 3 countries last week, in the US, Canada, and Australia. And you are both to be congratulated. So excellent job to the both of you. So what I'd like to do is let's start with this. I think it'd be great for everybody to get a chance to know you before we dive into Wise Women Seeking More. So Jessie, why don't you start us off? First, tell us a little bit about you, and then I'm going to go to Laurie and have her tell us or you guys can tell each other about each other. Like it really is great.
Oh, Lord.
Jessie, I'm going to have you go first.
Well, first of all, Everett, we want to thank you for guiding us through this process and helping to publish our book and bring it to the world. So thank you. It was so easy working with you. And I encourage the audience to really, if you're interested, this is the group that you want, Ignite Press.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You've been both just a joy to work with. Now, by the way, for people who are watching live or even on the recording, feel free to say hello in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from, but also if you have questions that you'd like me to pass to Jessie and Laurie, then please go ahead and do that in the chat log. So, all right, now coming back to you, Jessie, it's your turn. You have the floor.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, I grew up in Northern California where I was a surfer and it was all into sports. I actually, when I was a kid, I had dyslexia so bad I was least likely to succeed. And I ended up working in a factory for a long time. And then somehow, with a lot of grit and a lot of help, I was able to earn a PhD. And I eventually had the honor of serving as a professor and for many years, and then as a dean of a college of health and human development at a California university. And, after that, we get to be retirement age. And I know that for a lot of people around this time, they start questioning, should you retire? But for me, I was like, oh no, I feel like I have so much more to give. But, I did go through those questions of what do I want now? What's my passion? And so I knew that I had a really passion for social justice. And so I decided to go out into a marginalized community and develop a center that we could address health and education disparities. And also I had a passion for creating leaders, women leaders in the community that could decide what changes they wanted to make in the community. So I spent several years doing that. And then my friends are going, are you ever going to retire? And I said, I still think I have another passion in me and I want a new adventure. And so I've always had another passion for women's rights. And I decided maybe I'll call up Laurie over here and see if she would like to work together on helping to guide and inspire women to get the most out of life and be more professionally and personally successful and happier. And so thank you, Laurie, for agreeing to join me on that journey and writing this book together.
Excellent. Excellent. Wow. Okay. Well, I've got something I want to throw into this, but before I do, Laurie, why don't you tell us a bit about you?
Well, thanks, Everett. And I want to second Jessie and thanks to you and your team and also to Kathy Fayok and just everybody who supported us while we worked on this book. And as way to start introducing myself, Jessie and I both, I'll just say that we wanted to dedicate this book to our mothers. We're so grateful to them for their influence, for their guidance, for the models they were for us, and to other wise women. And we know that we stand on the shoulders of so many women before us. Unlike Jessie, I didn't grow up in Northern California. I grew up in the Midwest, and my mother would want you to know that I am a lifelong St. Louis Cardinals baseball fan. And I spent my first half of life in the Midwest and had the wonderful opportunity to go to college, earn a university degree, and go to graduate school and become a clinical psychologist. And then I moved to Southern California for my professional career. And like Jessie, I had a career as a university professor for many years, loved it, moved into administration, and spent the last 5.5 years of my academic career serving as dean of a large college in Southern California. And it was a wonderful life. But like Jessie and like so many women, I think, I started asking myself questions. Is this what I'm meant to do with the time I have left on this earth? What am I still passionate about? Is there another purpose I'm supposed to fulfill? And so really knew that it was time for me to make a change, work with women, work with leaders, help them to live their best lives personally, professionally. And so Jessie and I co-founded a business, R&J Leadership Group. I was excited when she invited me to write this book with her. And so we're just enjoying doing speaking and workshops and retreats and enjoying this next phase in both of our lives.
This is really excellent. And I applaud you both because you've touched on something. And while I know that you are speaking mostly to women because of your perspective and your background and your passions, it's not a question that's unique to women. And so a few years ago, I ran into a guy and he was an insurance actuarial, right? So he was the guy who helps calculate when are people going to die? How much money are we going to spend on them before they die? All of those things. And he speaks to people to help educate them that, you know what? You're going to live longer than you think and probably longer than you've planned for. And it isn't so that people will like set aside the right amount of money for retirement. It isn't any of that. It's that we have so many more years of productivity in us than society is geared to accept. And the whole thing of, hey, you know what? You work till you're 62 or you're 65 or whatever, and you retire and you go off and that's it. You know, that is doing such a huge disservice to society and to us as individuals. And he told me this story. He was talking to a guy who was a retired CEO, and they had this conversation. And actually, I think he had presented on stage, and then the retired CEO was in the audience, and he came up crying. And goes, why are you crying? He says, because I thought I was doing the right thing. I got to the stage in my business where it was time to prepare to hand off the reins to the next generation, the next cadre of leadership in the business. I thought I was doing the right thing. I set it up so I could step aside and then do this. But now I learn, no, I really did that too early. There's more for me to do. There's still people for me to impact. There's all of those things. And so this is why I am so excited about not just your book, but also what the two of you are doing, because there is more. And it isn't just for us to, it's like and I look at this from a biblical perspective. The Bible never said retire and go away. The Bible never said work a certain number of years, call it quits, and you're good. We all have stuff still to do. Until the day we die, we have things to do. So I am so excited. So wow, sorry, I went right down that road. So
Great.
let's
Thanks for sharing that story, because, it can be scary too. And especially when our society has the biases of, ageism. And so I thank you for sharing that story, Everett.
Yeah, my pleasure. So let's do this. Tell us about Wise Women Seeking More. What was the impetus behind writing the book, and who did you really write it for?
Well, first of all, I honestly felt a calling. I had been through a lot in my life. I had worked with a lot of women, especially those with chronic pain, and other women who were in transitions. And I felt this is the time. I really, really want to help inspire and support women in when these transitions can be complex, they can be scary, they can be challenging. And so that was the reason why I know I wrote the book. What about you?
Yeah, and we really, Everett, you're right. The kind of questions, what brings us passion? Do we have a purpose? What is it? How do we continue to grow and have meaningful lives as we move through life? Those are universal questions, and we can ask them at any time, and anyone can and probably should be asking them. We think, though, that we wrote the book for women in the second half for a couple of reasons. One is women's journeys frequently are different than they are for other folks. Not always, but frequently are. And frequently women in the first half of their lives, they may not be asking some of these questions. I've talked to women who say, Laurie, nobody ever asked me what I wanted. Nobody asked me what my passion or purpose was. And so for people who haven't asked it, there's still time to ask it. And for those of us who did ask it in our lives, we don't want to stop asking it. And so this book really is for any woman who's asking those kind of questions, wants to ask those kind of questions, wants tools as she does that, and doesn't want to do it alone, and wants to be inspired by other women on a range of journeys who've taken this road and walked this path and are seeking passion and purpose. So we're excited.
Yeah. And, I just want to add to that, Laurie, is that, we provide a step-by-step process that we really feel as reflective questions, assessments, and strategies to really help women achieve to be just happier and healthier and create the lives they want.
Yeah, that is excellent. And I love it because, yes, unique women face some very unique challenges down this road. What I love is the fact is that both of you are so incredibly accomplished individually. You both really rose to the very top of academia, right? You were both deans of your schools at the university, and I'm sure fought through some really interesting challenges to get to those points and dealt with some things that maybe your male colleagues might not have along that way. And now I see you turning around to pour that those experiences, your expertise, your perspective into other and other women on the journey. Now, when is there's a question that comes up in my mind, and that's a time. Laurie, you referred to asking the questions, and you said some people you're in that spot where you are, you have time to ask those questions, and others, those questions have kind of been answered for you by others. Is there a time when it's too late?
You want to answer?
I'll let you answer that.
Tough question.
I don't think it's ever too late. I don't think it's ever too late, and I hope no one else ever thinks it's too late. You mentioned this earlier, and Jessie and I've talked about this. Life's a journey. It's not over till it's over. What we want to do is be intentional about asking ourselves those questions, about searching and seeking and not stopping. We don't want to get off the road. And there's growth for all of us. For some of us, that's in a career. For some of us, that's in service. For some of us, that's in terms of spending time in ways we haven't before with other people. For some of us, it's an internal journey, an internally spiritual journey where we want to grow and develop. So there are lots of ways to do it, but I don't think it's ever too late. I hope nobody else does. And I hope we ask those questions for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. I know at 75, I'm still saying, oh, what's my next adventure? So, I just so much believe in, and even, since COVID, a lot of us have been disconnected. And so part of the journey might be just finding a way to reconnect with your families, your loved ones, your friends, and spending more time and quality time in the later years of life.
What do you think is one of the obstacles that keeps people from taking the steps that you're asking them to take? What gets in the way?
I think a lot of things do. I'll just mention a couple. One is, I think we live in a busy, fast-paced society, and just taking the time to reflect, to think about those questions about what it is that brings us meaning and purpose and passion, and thinking that we deserve that and that we have something to offer from that place. I think it's in the way for some people. I think for many folks, there are doubts and insecurities. Change isn't always easy. Change can be challenging, not all changes. And sometimes we get to choose those changes and those questions, and sometimes life visits those upon us. We didn't choose the challenges or hurdles we ran into. So I think for many of us, having the tools we need to combat those internal kind of demons or fears that we might have that come up. And then the other thing I'll say is, I think, and we mentioned this, is we can feel isolated. And so coming together with others and realizing we're on a journey together, I think gives us some energy and some hope for the future. I don't know. Do you want to add to that? Anything you want to say?
I think you said it well,
I think this is a book I would encourage, and I don't think I've ever said this about a book on one of our live casts. This is the kind of book where it'd be great to schedule a me weekend. Grab the book, rent a Airbnb somewhere, or whatever, go off and read this book and carry out the exercises in it to take that period of introspection. Because Laurie, like you said, we just so rarely, we're all so busy running that we don't stop for that kind of introspection. And especially if you're in our everyday life, we're burdened with other things and other people and tasks around us. And it'd really be perfect. Now, will you, or have you already done like retreats around this content and your processes?
Well, thank you for bringing that up, because we're in the process of developing 3 retreats in different locations. One will be in Dana Point, one will be in Tucson, Arizona, and another one in Hawaii, the main island. And so we're looking at developing those within this next year and 2. And we also will have online training workshops and coaching and mentoring opportunities. So you can go to our website, wisewomenseekingmore.com, and let us know if you're interested. And because sometimes this is not an easy process. This wasn't a book just to read from front to back really fast. It is a book that hopefully will change your life. But it takes a lot of work, and a lot of us just need support along that journey. But it's worth it.
Yeah, and I just put a comment up from Darcy Cohen, who said that she looks forward to coming back to this book also as she journeys through her life. So not necessarily a one and done, but let me come back and look at this again, because we're going to evaluate our circumstances again, right? And I think that really is excellent. Now, you mentioned your website, so I went ahead and put it up on the in the chat, and I think that would be excellent, because like right now you have there, and you have the option for people to go there and they can actually get some additional resources
Yes.
from your book and related to your book. But also, I imagine that if they want to learn more about your retreat and be on the notification for when you do announce registration,
Right.
that would be the way to do it. Correct? Just go in, get the additional resources, chapters, and then that'll get them on the announcement list.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Excellent. Now, there are some great questions that are coming through, and I'm going to get to some of them first, but I have a question I wanted to ask, and that is, in your book, you talk about a 4G mindset. And would you walk us through what you mean by a 4G mindset?
Sure, Everett, thanks. That's the 4G mindset is a tool that covers several chapters near the end of the book.
Yeah.
And so the shorthand version of that is most of us confront hurdles in our lives, or we'll come to transition points, or we run into difficulties. And what we want to have with us at all times are tools that we can pull out and use. They help us in the good times, but they're there and they're easily accessible when times are challenging. And the 4G mindset is exactly what it sounds like. There are 4 Gs, which hopefully make it easy to remember: grit, gratitude, grace, and growth. And what the book does is it walks us through what each of those are, how we can use them, examples of people using them in their lives when they encounter challenges, and ways that we can build each of those in our lives. And so what's nice is to have something that we can easily remember. Nobody needs a 20-step process when you run into a hurdle, but have 4 things and just go, what do I need in this circumstance? Do I need more grit now?
Yeah.
Maybe I need to show some grace. What am I doing in terms of my growth? And where does gratitude fit in my life? So we just like having that shorthand version of a tool we can take anywhere that's going to apply in a host of situations. And the book walks through it in some depth.
I love the fact that grit was in that conversation. Jessie, when we first started this call, you talking about grit, getting where you went to go from surfer and factory worker to dean of a college. And really rather incredible. And I gotta just what you've said, having a simple tool that you can use in multiple circumstances. And when did gratitude ever get in the way of anything? Like when did gratitude fail to help? I love that. Now, as you guys wrote the book, collaborating on a book is not an easy thing. Were there sections of the book that you felt like kind of wrote themselves?
Well, I felt that there were so many women that we have worked with and have known throughout our lives. Laurie and I were talking about this and how easy it was to share their stories of their journeys, their transitions, what was scary for them, but how brave they were to actually take the time, do the reflection, do activities to be brave enough to make the changes they wanted in life. Because some people had serious illnesses, others were had just some type of trauma in their life, and others just wanted a career change. They just were unhappy. And so we share their stories, hoping that our readers will find inspiration and courage to make those changes themselves.
And just to add to that, we wanted to do that in a way that really respected and honored the confidentiality of people we've known throughout our lives, people we've worked with, but we also wanted to be able to provide examples for people as they were considering their own lives when they read the book. And so we did that in a composite format. And if you read the book, we talk about that at the beginning. But yeah, we just know so many women who've walked this journey and used these kind of tools. So, yeah, that was nice to be able to call upon and share those.
Yeah. And we also share stories in our own lives because we're on this journey with you.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. I'm enjoying these comments, and I'm going to start passing some of these questions along to you here. We just have a few minutes left, so we probably only have time to get to a couple of these. So, but first, let me share a comment here. Lily Beth wrote, "Thank you for writing this book. It speaks to my journey in life. It is a compass and a navigational tool that provides practical and essential strategies and exercises to live a joyful, meaningful, and purposeful life." Wow, that is some serious praise.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lily Beth.
Goodness. Now, and Camille wrote this. She's on YouTube. She wrote, "I really appreciated the exercise for identifying one's core values. Too easy to let life happen and not let your values drive your life goals." Can you briefly tell us what that exercise is that Camille's referring to?
Well, we have an assessment tool that basically goes through asking women about their values. And they start with a big list, and then we work it through where they get down to what are the 5 essential core values in their life, because values really are the guideposts in our lives for our behaviors and what's meaningful to us and where our passion lies. And so we want to make sure that when women are setting their goals, is that it's aligned with their values. And so you want to add anything to
Yeah, no, I just think it's an important exercise for people to go through. Sometimes we find ourselves off track with what we value.
Yeah.
And so it's important to get back in touch with that again as we lay out the future. So thanks for the question, and thanks for the comment, Camille.
One other thing I would like to say is there are things that we value when we were younger, but something happens in life when we're getting older and our values shift. Maybe the kids have left home, and now you're looking around. I used to value raising my family, and now they're gone. And so we have to do that introspection again and really get at what is it that we value now in life.
That sounds critical to me, is to take that inventory periodically to determine really where are your priorities and where will you spend your time, and what's going to bring you fulfillment and joy during this time. Because yes, our circumstances change. We're at this stage where we're just now starting to become empty nesters. And first grandchild on the way, and priorities and things like that are likely to change. Proceed now. And the one last question from the audience that we have time to address is this one here. Do you have plans to write another book? Candace asked this on YouTube.
Thanks for the question. We are looking at another book. That might be crazy since we just launched this one, but we are, and we're looking at doing one specifically with regard to the 4G mindset for people in their lives, as well as for people in leadership positions. We think it's an important tool to have. So thanks for asking.
Well, so let's do this. It's really time for us to wrap up. Jessie and Laurie, thank you again, both of you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm putting into the chat log that if people want to learn more about you, if they want to get resources, if they want to learn about your upcoming retreats, which sound fantastic, then please, they can check out wisewomenseekingmore.com. Of course, the book is available now on Amazon in both Kindle and paperback versions. And this is a terrific gift, everybody. So please pick that up. Well, Jessie and Laurie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations again.
And thank you to everybody who supported the book. And thank you, Everett.
Absolutely. You are more than welcome. Well, thanks, everybody. And if please pick up the book. And if you'd like to learn more about how to get your book out, just go to ignitepress.us. That is ignitepress.us. Thank you again for joining us on this livecast.